Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recaps. Today, I finished that book. I finished it. I'm so excited. I hope you can hear the glee, the lightness in my voice, because that darn thing is finished, thank goodness. Whew, it's been a rough, what is this, video 7? Good Lord. Rough 7 videos getting through this book, but I did it, and I lived to tell about it, and now I can share it with you guys. Oh, believe me, there's more crap to hate Prince Harry over, but it's coming. I'll show it to you in this one because it leaves a real bad taste in your mouth at the end of this thing, but I finished. I'm very happy. Now I get to reward myself by listening to Greg Davies' book, Firing Cheese Balls at a Dog. I'm so excited. I guess it's not a book. It's like a live show, but I'm very excited. Thank you all for sticking with me through this journey. I love all of your messages. I really do. You all write me the funniest things. Oh my goodness. Do you hear the lightness in my voice? I feel like this daunting task is done, right? I mean, I hate running, but if I ran, it'd be something like that, I would think. Like, I only run if I'm chased, but if it was like, if I ran, it would be like that. Like, oh, I did it. I did the big run. Now I'm done. Okay, so as I mentioned in the previous video, the next big book coming out comes out next week. It's by, I don't know if it's pronounced Valentine or Valentine Lowe, and it's a book on the courtiers. And from what I'm hearing, it does not paint the Sussexes in a great light. So I'm excited to read that one. Yeah, I thought I'd do it like this, where we just kind of do the highlights. This one's not taking one for the team because I'm actually excited to read this one. The cover itself even has William and Catherine and Harry and Nutmeg, and I just can't wait to hear. It's more about the inner workings of the palace, and I'm excited to hear about that. I'm actually very curious to hear about that. So I will be updating with highlights there. In the meantime, I also have Tom Bower's Revenge book, so I thought, you know what? I might post a couple juicy bits from there. I know it came out a while ago, but it's pretty darn juicy, and it's all about Nutmeg, and I didn't really care about her upbringing part so much, but what I do care about is, he calls her out on some stuff, like some behind-the-scenes shenanigans, like at photo shoots and allegedly throwing tea and everything in between. So I thought maybe we could get to some juicy parts of that. So that's kind of my plan for the channel, as well as continuing on the TikToks, because I get so much good feedback on those. You guys seem to really like those. I love making people laugh, so it's just kind of a fun thing for me to do. Also, I did a live chat this past Saturday that went so well. I'd planned to do it for about an hour. I'm not kidding you guys. It lasted 4 hours. We had the best time. There were like 3,000 people on. We were cracking up. And it was so fun getting to know you all. So let's do another one this Saturday, the 21st, 6 p.m. Eastern time, 11 p.m. if you're in London or go on that time. We had so much fun. I want to do that again. Lastly, I have to tell you about my new merch. You guys, thank you to everybody who has picked stuff up from this new merch. It's my favorite stuff. I love the colors. I love the details. I think it turned out so well. A huge thank you to Jay for designing it for me. So many of you guys have purchased some, and I appreciate that. So I just wanted to let you know, if you hadn't seen it, that it is available for purchase on teespring.com, and then it's Real Housewives Recaps. So I'll put the link in the video, but do check that out because I have a lot of cool stuff up there. Okay, I can't stall any further. Let's talk about this book. You guys, it was a lot. It was a lot once again. Woe is me. So if you're keeping track, reading along with me, this picks up on part 3, chapter 66, and goes through the end of the book. I think there were 78 chapters plus a 12-minute epilogue on this darn thing. How crazy is that? 12 minutes. Oh. Okay, so this picks up with the Battle of the Press. No, that's what he's calling it anyway. So it starts out with Archie is here. We don't have Lilibet yet. Actually, that's where I left off. They just had Archie, and he's going into this battle he's having with the press, and it is very woe is me. I have so many clips to play you. I'm not even going to go detailed into this because I want you to hear it for yourself. The lack of self-awareness, I don't know why it continues to astound me, but it does. He he can do no wrong. I've never seen anything like it. I have nothing to compare it to because I would never surround myself with somebody like this. I've never seen anybody less self-aware. And I had said it before, and I'll say it again here. I feel like it fits. He paints himself as a passenger in his own life. Nothing is ever his responsibility or his fault or anything. It's the wildest thing. I think it goes beyond delusional and past narcissism into some scary stuff. I don't know. Like, I don't understand how this man drives a car, or if he does, I don't know. But you know what I mean? Like, normal adult functions, I don't understand how he does. I really don't. You know, it was funny at first to call him, like, painfully stupid, and I stand by that. We're just seeing a level of delusion. And what's funny is in this book, I found toward the end especially, he's making a case he's trying to say, I tried to get William to see the light and see my truth, or whatever the hell he's spitting out, you know. But William couldn't see it, and basically trying to make us think, oh, William, you're a bastard. You couldn't see that Harry was struggling. And all it did for me personally is think, yeah, William's thinking like a rational adult, and you clearly are not able to do that. The part that strikes me, too, is that what am I looking for here? The expectation. He expects that he and Meghan will be provided for financially. He expects that security will be provided for them. He expects that he will not be cut off from his family. It just, I mean, he's like I say petulant teenager, but it's even less than that. It's like a little kid, like, I'm running away. Like, can you pack me dinner? You know, like, what? No. Oh, God. I feel like I'm going crazy now as a result. Again, I can't even attempt to make sense of it for you because none of it makes any sense. That's where we're at. Okay. So the book, like I say, picks up from little Archie being born to they end at Lilibet was just born. They did not discuss her name, by the way. I was very curious about that. I just kept thinking, what's the excuse here? Because they claimed that they got permission, and the palace said, no. Because as you recall, that was Queen Elizabeth's nickname from her husband. So, I was curious to see how they're going to glaze over that one. So they didn't even touch it. Interesting. All right, let's get into this. I'm going to play some clips for you and get ready to roll your eyes in disgust. Here we go. Okay, so the first clip I just wanted to pull just to kind of set the mood for you, if you will. Listen to him detailing his ongoing battle with the press and what victims of it he and Meghan are. Get ready. So this is supposedly him and Meghan talking to some unnamed, I believe it was an editor for a member of the press, something like that had press ties, basically. He was detailing their struggle to this unnamed member. Isn't that amazing how many stories are like this? This anonymous person felt for us. This anonymous person told Meghan, thank you for your service, ma'am, on the plane. This anonymous person told Meghan, we danced in the streets, like when, with the Nelson Mandela stuff. It's just one of those people that can't stop lying and tries to get others involved in their lives.
Frequently putting a hand over his mouth and shaking his head. He'd seen the headlines, he said, but he'd not appreciated the full impact this might have on a young couple. This deluge of hate and lies was unprecedented in British history, he said. Disproportionate to anything I've ever seen, he said.
All right, let that marinate. So they are saying they've had it worse than any other member of the family in terms of the press. My mind reels thinking about all those years Catherine was chased, even when she wasn't with William, and had to beg for them to stop. When she had photos taken of her with the long lens, the invasion of her privacy, things like that. You're telling me Camilla didn't have to deal with the press when everything went down. It just, again, they're big old victims. Okay, so from here he goes into detailing their first. Actually, I say detailing. There weren't many details, but listen to how he explains their tour in South Africa. Now, if you remember, the whole nursery and supposed fire and all that stuff has come out since then. But then people have said, no, no, it was just smoke, not a fire. They, blew it all out of proportion. They don't talk about it in the book. I was curious to see if they would. They're not talking about that. But let's just take a listen and tell me if you think Megsy Poo wrote this one.
It felt glorious to watch an entire country fall in love with my wife. South Africa, that is. September 2019. Another foreign tour representing the Queen, and another triumph. From Cape Town to Johannesburg, people couldn't get enough of Meg. We both felt a bit more confident, therefore, a bit more courageous.
Yeah. Okay. So they're trying to again feed us this story that everybody loves Meghan. She's wonderful. We're the problem, not her. Nothing is ever their fault. They just cannot tell the truth about anything. I would love to know if anybody in the comments is from South Africa. I know I've had people in the past say that they were when we're talking about like below deck stuff. I'd love to know the true feeling. Was there love for Meghan, and is he telling the truth here, which I highly doubt? Like, what were the general sentiments around this? Okay. So now I want to play when claims he was summoned to Buckingham Palace. This is the incident where he alleges the Queen sat back while Charles and Willie yelled at him. You guys, his brother yelled at him. How will he survive? But yeah, so William yelled at him and he has the nerve. It's unfortunately not in this clip. I wish I had it. He has the nerve to say that his family lives in a bubble inside a bubble. And I say, who are you to say that? Because the only one, they seem way more down to earth compared to Has Been and Nutmeg. What is he talking about?
I was summoned to Buckingham Palace. A lunch with Granny and Pa. The invitation was contained in a terse email from the Bee, and the tone wasn't, would you mind popping around?
Okay, if you're like, who the heck is he talking about? Let me fill it in. He refers to he gives code names to people in the book, probably because in crayon it's hard to write people's names. Or they're just invented people that he can be mad at. But he calls these people irrelevant and stupid. He refers to the bee, the wasp, and the fly. Now, people smarter than me have done some research, and what they believe is the bee he's referring to here was the Queen's private secretary. The wasp, who he takes most of the jabs at, is somebody that worked with Prince Charles. Again, all alleged. This is internet sleuths have kind of figured this out. And that the fly, who he seems to take the least issue with, is somebody that worked with Prince William, perhaps his private secretary. So anyway, let's get back into it. That's who he's talking about with the bee.
It was more, get your ass over here. I threw on a suit, jumped into the car. The bee and the wasp were the first faces I saw when I walked into the room. An ambush. I thought this was to be a family lunch. Apparently not. Alone, without my staff, without Meg, I was confronted directly about my legal action.
What they're talking about there is Harry wanting to take legal action against the press for publishing Meg's letters and trying to out the... Remember that whole stupid thing about the 5 friends or whatever it was that wrote the article on behalf of Meg? It's so ridiculous. They've said so many crazy things since then. It just doesn't even seem like that big a deal. But anyway, they threatened to sue over it, and that's what he's talking about.
My father said it was massively damaging to the reputation of the family. How so? It makes our relationship with the media complicated. Complicated? Well, there's a word. Anything you do affects the whole family, he said.
Do you see what I mean, though? He tries to tell these stories like his father and brother are being unreasonable with him, and call me crazy, but the only one that's unreasonable here is Harry.
One could say the same about all your actions and decisions. They affect us as well. Like, for instance, whining and dining the same editors and journalists who've been attacking me and my wife.
So I see Harry's tactics have remained the same. He thinks by jabbing at them, he'll be able to get what he wants. So immediately my mind goes to, oh, that's why he's putting in the press that he has so much more for another book. He said that he cut out half of the stuff that he had written in this book. You guys, this would have been a 32-hour book. I can't even. But do you see what he does? He does this thing where he jabs at people and basically blackmails him or threatens him. I don't know what the word is there, but to try to get his petulant way.
The bee, or the wasp, jumped in to remind me one has to have a relationship with the press, sir. We've talked about this before. A relationship, yes, but not a sordid affair.
Just wanted to play this clip, not that there's anything particularly juicy, but just to really get a feel for the tone throughout the book, and especially here at the end. Nothing is his fault. He can do no wrong. He is the only sane one in this family, and everybody else is being unreasonable, not possibly him misreading things or misunderstanding or just being a jerk about everything, right? So I'm going to cut through the boring bits and get to where William is talking to Harry. Again, we're supposed to feel sorry for Harry here, but listen to what Harry says.
He said I was clearly struggling and he was worried about me. I thanked him for his concern, assured him I was fine. I'd become emotional in front of a room full of sick kids and their folks just after becoming a father myself. Nothing abnormal in that. He said I wasn't well. He said again that I needed help. I reminded him that I was doing therapy.
So Harry goes into this detail of giving a speech and breaking into tears. Okay. It's not even worth going into, but do you hear, am I crazy here? Do you hear it too? I would say William handled that flawlessly. And I know I'm a diehard William and Kate fan, but seriously, what else do you want him to do? He was saying, are you okay? Do you need help? You know what I mean? Like, sounds like he was being caring and kind. What else is he supposed to do? Had he done anything else, Harry would have written about it in the book. Let's move on to hypocritical Harry. What else is new? Listen to this when he talks about gaining his freedom.
The freedom had got us thinking, what if life could be like that all the time? What if we could spend at least part of each year somewhere far away, still doing work for the Queen, but beyond the reach of the press? Free. Free from the British press, free from the drama, free from the lies, but also free from the supposed public interest that was used to justify the frenzied coverage of us.
Do you see what I'm saying? None of it makes sense. This goes right back into their saying they want to be out of the spotlight. They don't want all their stuff out there. They want to be free of the public interest. So how do they do that? By airing every bit of dirty laundry, every grievance they've ever had from birth on, and putting it all in this book. Okay, so then we go into another family summit. This is the one where Meg was in Vancouver, and Harry was going to discuss their roles and what was going to happen from here.
I got there early, hoping to have a quick chat with Granny. She was sitting on a bench before the fireplace, and I sat down beside her. I saw the wasp react with alarm. He went buzzing off, and moments later returned with Pa, who sat beside me.
This has been trying to convince us that the Queen was not in control of things, and that they needed to get Charles involved so he couldn't, basically saying, woe is me, I can't be alone with my grandmother to discuss this matter.
Immediately after him came Willie, who looked at me as if he planned to murder me. Hello, Harold. He sat across from me. Separate entities indeed. When all participants had arrived, we shifted to a long conference table, with Granny at the head. Before each chair was a raw notepad and pencil. The bee and the wasp conducted a quick summary of where we were. The subject of the press came up pretty quickly. I referenced their cruel and criminal behaviour, but said they'd had a ton of help. This family had enabled the papers by looking the other way, or by actively courting them.
H is for hypocrisy. I'm not going to sing to you, but seriously, again, where are we right now? Reading the book of your tell-all supposed dirty secrets of your family, while you're bitching that they're supposedly telling your family secrets. Make that make sense.
It's been with the press and the sick relationship that's evolved between it and the palace. I love my mother country, and I love my family, and I always will. I just wish, at the second darkest moment of my life, they'd both been there for me. And I believe they'll look back one day and wish they had too.
Anybody else playing the violin for him? No? Okay. I don't even know what else to say here. Again, do you see what I'm saying? It's an obsession with the press. So not only is he spilling all his family secrets, he just can't stop saying things like this, that basically the palace is dirty and so is the press. I don't know what he hopes to accomplish with this. The next clip I had pulled to play, I'm just going to explain. I'm not going to play it because it's kind of depressing, but so Caroline Flack, I wish I knew more about her. I really don't. I Googled a little bit. It sounds like she was a celebrity there in the UK, very well liked. Unfortunately, she had some struggles and took herself out. And he decides to spin this story and try to make you feel sorry for him in it. He literally says, she once dated me and this is how she ended up. Like, like, like misery surrounded him, so she caught it from being with him, and that's how she had to end things. Totally taking out or discounting any struggles that she personally clearly had or had been dealing with. So it just, to me, left a bad taste in my mouth and made it pretty disgusting the way he was talking there. I know he's caught a lot of flack for that from the press. Let's see. So we go from here into so much. So Meghan and Harry were in Vancouver, and then a couple weeks later, the press found out where they were. He is claiming it's because he basically says he wrote Charles and told him where he was, and then coincidentally, the press found out a couple weeks later where they were. It couldn't possibly be their fault, like walking around Vancouver or whatever. I remember those stage paparazzi walks that they had. That's not their fault, guys. Charles decided it'd be a good idea to tell the press where they were. Why would he do that? What's the motivation? Make it make sense, right? They ended up on the phone with Tyler Perry. So we find out a little bit more about that. He had written to Meghan before the wedding and said, I see what the press is doing. So I'm like, okay, I know that's supposed to endear us to Tyler Perry, but it makes me realize, oh, cool, he's a narcissist like you guys. So turns out the reason Tyler Perry liked them so much is because Tyler was very close to his mother, who was a big fan of Harry's mother, Diana. So they give this scene when they're staying at Tyler's house where Tyler, this is all such bullshit. I'm trying to make it make sense. It doesn't. I feel embarrassed to even say this out loud because it just is so crazy. But this is what they allege. That Tyler Perry forgot that he had a picture of Diana up at his house. He forgot about that, you guys. And so when Maggie was walking Archie around, Archie cooed at the picture. They realized it was a picture of Diana, and everybody was in shock. Okay. Are you kidding me with the bullshit? Seriously. Oh my God. How much did they pay Tyler? Seriously, to be okay. Obviously they're drinking each other's Kool-Aids. Let's go into more of these clips. We are almost done, you guys. Hang in here with me. All right. So back into the bullshit. Harry is trying to claim, again, I had this beef before, he tries to say things that Diana would have loved this or approved of this or whatever, but he has she's passed, so he's just guessing, William could say the opposite, and he's just guessing, common sense. But he alleges that he had a psychic, and the psychic said that Diana would have been proud and approved of what he and Meghan were doing. Okay, so then I'm going to play you, there's just 2 clips left. I'm going to play you, this was after his grandfather's funeral.
How much damage has been done to our love, our bond, and why? All because a dreadful mob of dweebs and crones and cut-rate criminals and clinically diagnosable sadists along Fleet Street feel the need to get their jollies and plump their profits and work out their personal issues by tormenting one very large, very ancient, very dysfunctional family.
Okay, so again, no self-awareness. Can't see the hypocrisy right in front of his face. He's saying this about the press and how they've sold out the family, and we're learning this in the book where he sells out the family. You can't make this crap up.
Willie wasn't quite ready to accept defeat. I felt properly sick and ill after everything that's happened, and I swear to you now on Mummy's life that I just want you to be happy.
So again, this is supposed to make us what? Dislike William? It makes me like him more. It sounds like he's dealing with a disturbed person, aka Harold, and treating him with kid gloves and trying to get him help. Harry sees that as Big Brother William being mean.
Meg and I looked at flight options. The press started phoning. We couldn't delay a decision any longer. We told our team to confirm we'd be missing the World Child Awards and hurrying up to Scotland. Then came another call from Pa. He said I was welcome at Balmoral, but he didn't want her. He started to lay out his reason, which was nonsensical.
Do you see what he's doing there? Do you see how he's trying to make Charles look like the villain? And he won't even use Meghan's name. He's just calling her and trying to keep her away. No, that's not what happened, allegedly. There are reports that none of the wives were. Kate wasn't there either. Not welcome, but you know what I mean? Like, it just was a moment for the family before others get there. But Harold can't see that. Harold has to be the victim. And finally, as he wraps up the book, he has to take another jab at Charles. So listen to how he describes Charles.
Because he hated their hate, but oh, how he loved their love. One could make the argument that therein lay the seeds of the whole problem. Indeed, all problems, going back decades. Deprived of love as a boy, bullied by schoolmates, he was dangerously, compulsively drawn to the elixir they offered him.
This is the petulant child, Harry, talking about his father's relationship with the press. And this is the feeling he chooses to leave us with reading this book, is that Harry and Meghan are good, the rest of the family bad, the press is bad, and the family is in bed with the press. So let that sink in. He does do, the 12-minute afterwards, and the epilogue, I wish I could say he said anything worthwhile, but he doesn't. He goes into how he and Meghan both prayed for clarity, that he got a text from Meghan while flying to get to his granny's, and that's how he found out the Queen had passed. What else? He barely spoke to William at the funeral, and it sounds like they really haven't spoken much since, according to Harry. Again, I don't take anything he says at face value. And then lastly, he ends with seeing a hummingbird, which he tells it to be free, fly away. And that is how the book ends. Seriously, I can't make this crap up. Written in crayon, marked with an H because he just learned how to make initials. And that is Harry's book. You guys, I survived it. I can't even believe it. I wish I had more things to say about this. But honestly, I feel like I'm done talking about it. Done talking about the book anyway. Yeah, of course, as more news comes out, I will continue to cover it. I look forward to covering the Courtier's book starting next week, so check back for that. And thanks for sticking with me through this book journey. It has been a lot. Thank you for all the love and support. I really appreciate it. Check out my Patreon. Check out my merch, teespring.com, and it's Real Housewives Recaps. You can find the store. Thanks for everything. Have a wonderful day. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.